Welcome back to the On the Air podcast. I'm excited to welcome Jean Fahmy. Over the last 27 years of his career, he has founded and sold multiple tech companies, led digital transformation as a CIO and CTO for major organizations, and became a recognized evangelist for artificial intelligence. Jean's journey is all about turning bold ideas into real-world impact. Welcome, Jean. I'm so excited to have you with us.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. There's a lot of questions and different things because your career is so rich with different things. But I want to start with building AI in the legacy industry. You've just stepped into a role of Vice President of AI and Data at Kruger, a company with deep roots over 100 years in manufacturing. What makes building an AI strategy for manufacturing uniquely challenging compared to industry that maritime or automotive that you worked before? And what extraordinary breakthroughs do you see AI unlocking in this space?
Good question. So let's start with the elephant in the mill. Why is building AI in manufacturing, especially pulp and paper, uniquely challenging? Well, in automotive, you got shiny new plants with robots. In maritime, you got ships that are global, they're relatively standardized. In pulp and paper, every machine is unique. Some are from the 1960s, others got sensors that were bolted on last year, and some are still managed by the operator's ear. Literally, Joe knows the sound of the pump, and when the pump makes a little bit of a weird sound, he knows he's got to change it. So it's kind of like standardizing karaoke night at a family reunion. Everybody's singing the same song, but in a completely different key on a completely different tempo. And so the challenge is heterogeneity. So bringing everything together, and the opportunity is huge. If AI can nudge OEE, which is our basic metric for manufacturing with overall equipment effectiveness, by even 1%, we're talking millions of dollars. And so predicting one dryer failure can save $500,000 in downtime, right? And so the breakthroughs is the AI co-pilots, and not the Microsoft co-pilot, but just people that help on the shop floor. So why did my reel break? Well, it shows the last three fixes, the SOP clip, the suggestion of the tension adjustment, or dynamic planning. The AI shifts the pulp from packaging to tissue when it sees the flu season coming, or my favorite, embedded carbon economics. The optimizer doesn't just look at cost, it looks at the CO2 as well. So the extraordinary breakthrough isn't the robots making the paper. It's turning 100 years of gut feeling into a living, nervous system for the mill.
No, I feel like there is so much complexity and little things that you probably don't even look at when you think about manufacturing, right? And especially the long history and have to be careful with data and the time frame of what's happening and connecting that into the real projects. The next question is about scaling data into value. Research shows that nearly 95% of AI projects stall or fail at the proof of concept stage, right? How do you make sure that AI really drives real ROI and business value instead of becoming just another buzzword?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. And actually, we've experienced it at Kruger as well to do some proof of concepts and to see what things can happen and how to educate the executives on what AI can do. They demo well, but they don't scale. And so to avoid that trap, we started with rebuilding the whole data foundation, and we're rebuilding it on data products. And that means every key area of the mill, downtime, quality, energy, maintenance, OE, they all get a standardized ISA 95 aligned data product. And those products are reusable, they're automated, they're connected, they're scalable, and they're searchable by the business. We even use Gen AI to pre-fill the whole metadata of those data products. And then the business experts, they review it. And once it's validated, it becomes a product that others can use and trust. That way, we have a solid foundation where we can build real use cases out of solid, trusted, clean data that is there. And so we don't need to chase the buzzwords. We don't need to just put a co-pilot Gen AI thing on top of some documents and say we have a troubleshooting guide. We actually have real data that is set and approved by the business, and we can solve actually expensive problems. And so I'll give an example. A tissue machine moving from 85 to 88% in OEE, that's many millions a year. Predicting a dryer failure, that's another few million saved, right? And so what we when we start from the foundation, we go with the business case of increasing the OEE. That's our big one. And so we look at all the different elements in which OEE gets affected. The unplanned downtime, for example, is what we're really focusing on. And then we're trying to see what are the elements of the unplanned downtime? How can we predict them? And then how can we make sure that they don't happen before they happen, essentially? And so we don't just start with, let's try with AI. We start with, we lost $1 million there. How do we stop it? And then how do we use the different tools that we have to make sure that it doesn't happen again? And AI is a part of it.
This is great.
If ever, people have tried to find clean manufacturing data, they'll appreciate this. The hardest part of AI isn't the actual model. It's finding the data, and it's searching for it's like searching for car keys in a teenager's room, right? You might find them, but you'll discover 3 socks and, a happiness sandwich later that where they are.
Yeah, it's a really fun analogy. I think what in the core of it is that you're doing reverse engineering, right? A lot of people are just experimenting on throwing ideas out there instead of actually looking into core problems and analyzing if you actually have the data to build the real models and not just predict of what could be possible. And from all of the POCs that you've done, maybe like in a percentage, which ones are, what the percentage is moving to the next phase from the Kruger cases?
A lot of the POCs that are done generate a single use value. And then when you start looking at the global scale of the company and applying it, then it becomes a question of, is this something that is worth heavily investing in to scale this? And then bringing together all the different elements, and not just a single little piece of sample data set, but the whole data set that you have to clean, that you have to tag, that you have to make trustable. And then it starts becoming a conversation about build versus buy. Do we really want to build this within Kruger? We're a pulp and paper and tissue company. Or do we want to look to the different vendors in which their systems are embedded with us to see what are the tools that they have that we can leverage with our data? So if we focus on the clean data and use the tools from the vendor, sometimes that becomes the best solution for us.
No, that's great. And I feel like you're combining the knowledge of partners that already done some great work and already have the knowledge, and it's less risk that you can actually experiment more and pick the ones. It sounds like you're in the phase of really like designing and thinking which one will go into the next phase. I know you just started pretty recently.
In January, yeah.
In January, yeah. So bring in the fact of multi-industries, because I wanted to know if there is any parallels. You've helped to set AI standards for maritime navigation and predictive maintenance, and now you're tackling manufacturing. How do you transfer these lessons across industries, and what surprises you and what the parallels that you see that actually kind of having very, very similar tracks in these industries?
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually didn't know the similarities when I decided to go into manufacturing. I just liked the idea that manufacturing, we do stuff, right? We build stuff, we do stuff that people use. I like that. But so before Kruger, I worked with Canada's Steamship Lines. It's a maritime shipping company. I did AI for them as well as all the digital stuff, did the predictive maintenance and the navigation route optimization. And the parallels are pretty uncanny. Ships cross, we did the Great Lakes and Australia and Africa and Europe, and paper machines are running 24/7 as well. And so ships and paper machines are unforgiving. If something breaks, you can't just stop and pull over. You have to keep running or you bleed money on both, right? And so having a 24/7, 365 operation on both puts you on this kind of model where predicting is a lot more important than just, wait until it breaks. So on ships, you learn to listen to the heartbeat of the engine with predictive AI. In mills, it's the heartbeat of a dryer or a winder. And so in navigation, we optimize routes. In mills, you optimize the production, right? And so, shipping around a paper machine are more alike than I thought. And they're both noisy and long and very expensive if you crash them. So,
yes. and unforgiving.
And very unforgiving.
No, that's great. I haven't even thought how would you see those parallels, but it sounds like it's really all about the critical points and where can you not lose the traction with the customer or with that particular machine that does something very important and losing the track of time. And question about people and machines and harmony. I think you've consistently built people first teams, right? Keeping turnover below 5%, which is remarkable in the tech industry. And in the era of AI transforming jobs, how can leaders balance automation with human talent so teams feel motivated and empowered rather than threatened by the new regimes?
Yeah, that's the billion-dollar question. And it's something that we saw a lot in all the traditional industries that I've been in. The advent of technology, especially AI, comes with this fear that it's going to replace the jobs. Even the unions that that are in these industries are on edge for a lot of these things. One of the proudest things that I have about the teams that I've built is the fact that when you build a people-first organization, you start with their preoccupations. You start with making them better, empowering them, giving them mastery, giving them purpose, giving them something to build towards. And the fear with AI is always, will it take my job? But the real opportunity is, will it make me better at my job? And that's where AI, I think, can really shine. And my job is to show them how AI is not going to replace the operators, but it's going to give them co-pilots to make their jobs even easier. The other thing, too, is that we have an aging workforce everywhere, particularly in traditional industries. I have a guy on one machine that has been with the machine for 30 years, right? And so when he goes on vacation and the guy that's been on the machine for 3 years works on the machine and something breaks in the machine, it's not the same. There's a 27-year gap of knowledge on, the vibration, the sound the machine makes and everything around there. So how do we empower that 3-year guy on the machine to be able to tend towards this type of experience of 30 years, right? That's the real challenge, is how do I empower him? And so instead of getting this Joe, this 3-year-old guy to fight this winder issue alone, then hopefully I can give him a co-pilot to help see the SOPs, the fix history, the work orders, the maintenance logs, everything that's been there, so he could have a full picture of it and be able to apply it on the machine. So instead of the maintenance team doing an emergency call at 3 a.m., we can predict the failure before it happens and book that. And what we're trying to do is replicate this 30-year-old guy's experience on listening to the machine and saying, nah, there's something wrong with it, right? It's tough. It's very tough, but that's what we're trying to do with data. And so what we need to do as AI leaders is co-design AI with people who use it. I have to do it with the operators themselves. If I don't bring them into the ship, unintended, first, then they're actually not going to take it. And I can build the best AI tool in the world. If the operators don't use it, then I've actually done nothing. So we need to celebrate those wins. He fixed the pump in 10 minutes with, the co-pilot's help. He helped us do it. He had the full thing. And so the way I put it was that we're not replacing Joe. We're giving Joe an Iron Man suit there. That's the future. Humans with AI exoskeletons, not humans versus machines.
It's so beautiful the way you put it. It's really embracing human and Joe as a leader, and then giving the tools, but not other way around, right? And then having a power, skills, and tools that they never had been able to see or have it on their fingertips, and all those little things that could be easily improved so they can focus on more meaningful stuff. That would be nice.
There we go.
And Jean, question about breakthroughs that inspire you. I know you have been researching and looking at a lot of cases, observing AI adoption across industries. What is the most impressive real-world AI cases that you've seen so far? And where do you believe the next breakthrough is likely to happen? with AI?
We hear a lot of AI use cases in different industries that do things like predictive maintenance and, demand planning and optimization of supply chains. And, it's good. It automates tasks and it helps us make better decisions faster, which is what AI is supposed to do, and what our tools are supposed to do. But I don't get really inspired by that. What I get inspired by is when AI gets put on a real world problem, like AlphaFold from DeepMind, that got put on protein folding, which was a 50-year scientific puzzle. And it did it. It got the breakthrough through that. And it's got amazing repercussions for the world. The same thing with being able to map out elements in nature that we couldn't even think of mapping out without AI, and then predicting how forest fires are going to happen and trying to prevent those. Real world things where we help the health of people, where we help our environment, where we decarbonize, where we make things easier for humans to live. I think that's the real breakthrough. I could say that in things like what I did in the maritime industry, we're able to save fuel, 10 to 20% of the fuel of the ships by doing the just-in-time model that is there. The prediction of the ETA wasn't the inspiring part. The saving of the 10 to 20% of the fuel, that was cool. And really, it was changing a behavior of the pilots and giving them the time where they can get to the lock or the port without racing to it and wasting the fuel that is there. So for me, things like having swarms of AI agents collaborating with the digital workers, the planners, the schedulers, that's important. Small domain LLMs as well. So ChatGPT is really cool and it does a lot of stuff, and same thing with the other LLMs. But having a small language model that is going to be specific. So things like a ChatGPT for the pulp, dryer, that's going to be highly effective. And really, for me, everything tends toward things like sustainability AI. Every decision from shipping pulp to drying tissue optimizes costs and carbon. So the next years aren't going to be massive breakthroughs and replacing humans and stuff. It'll be humans who know how to work with AI, replacing those who don't.
And I really hear true passion for breakthrough things in saving the planet and helping with little things that really improve significantly the way we live, right? Using AI and predictive analytics that before wasn't like, it took years to really get to some results. Now we can have massive breakthroughs with simple data that gives you like breakthrough results. And I feel like that's where you're probably going to spend some years ahead looking into, right, the sustainability and breakthrough projects with probably water and air and things like that. And I have a tricky question for you. I've been talking to some people about AI and consciousness. Do you think we ever will be able to teach AI consciousness? I know that everything else, of course, is already there and it's happening, improving, but that part, it's an interesting topic to bring up. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a fun question, a philosophical question. I believe we have something that can't be digitalized, that can't be datafied. And I'm a data guy telling you that there's stuff that we have in our lives that can't be datafied. There's a long list of things that AI can't do. They can't be creative. It can't feel. It doesn't have a soul, right? And we can digitalize everything and automate everything that we can in our world, and we will eventually. But those are the things that make us human. And if we talk about consciousness, I attach that to the soul. I attach that to what is not tangible. I think we'll be able to replace most of the tangible things that we have in our lives, but the intangibles, well, that keeps us human and humble.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's how also we can look at it. Like AI cannot take over the person that has a soul, consciousness, and things that you cannot quantify and you cannot put that in a simple data set, right? So I think we will live really nicely together and improving each other's lives. So it was really fun talking to you, Jean. Thank you so much for joining.
It always is.
And I look forward to seeing your amazing progress and every industry that you're touching in the future, and all these great cases and improving the planet.
Thanks, Uly. Thanks for having me.